Today we'll be taking a look at the Cammus C12 direct drive wheelbase that produces 12 Nm of torque. The C12 is an all-in-one steering wheel and direct drive wheelbase made for sim races. Opening the box, we find an interesting and unique design with the steering wheel combined with a direct drive motor. There's no separate wheelbase, it's a steering wheel and motor completely as one unit. In the box there's also a quick start manual, power cable, USB cable, Allen keys and bolts, the power supply, a cooling fan, and the two brackets that mount onto the back of the motor. Taking a look at the specs, the C12 comes with a 300mm round steering wheel, and this is wrapped with a synthetic leather material that feels nice to the touch. The steering wheel is connected to the wheelbase with a 70mm PCD bolt pattern, which gives the possibility to swap out with other steering wheels, but more on that later. At the front we have a carbon fibre faceplate with plenty of inputs. There's 10 tactile RGB buttons that have a nice clicky feel. There's 4 rotary encoders. The 2 bottom ones have aluminium knobs with push button functions, and the 2 top encoders have plastic knobs without the push button function. There's 2 blue aluminium thumb wheels with push button functions, and while these are easy to operate with your thumbs, the push function is a little harder to use. Towards the bottom we have 2 joysticks. The left one can be used for mouse control, and the right joystick used as a D-pad with push button and rotary function. On the front there's also a small LED display with a tinted screen for showing gears or speed, and there's a curved LED rev light bar at the top to let you know when to shift. The magnetic paddle shifters on this wheel are well built, and these are made out of metal with carbon fibre paddles. The magnetic shifters work well and have a nice snappy feel. The carbon paddles are removable, which means they can be upgraded or customised with other sizes and shapes later on if you like. Taking a look at the back of the steering wheel, it's all CNC'd aluminium, giving it a solid build quality. The motor is using an external rotor design, delivering plenty of power, and it's designed with aluminium cooling fins to help keep things cool during use. We can also find a reset button, the power switch, LED power indicator, external fan socket, USB connection, power DC input, and 2 USB-C ports for the pedals, a handbrake or a shifter. At the back behind the display, there's also a Type-C service port for upgrading the interface. For the setup, the 2 included mounting brackets are bolted onto the back of the motor. These are then bolted onto the optional table clamp or directly onto a sim rig. The included fan that comes with the C12 is usually mounted onto the optional angled desktop bracket. But without buying the angled desktop bracket, there's nowhere to mount the fan, and it just sits loosely behind the wheelbase. You could always make a bracket for the cooling fan, but it's something that should be included if the fan is part of the setup. The hardware is controlled on a PC with the Cammus Racing Drive software. The software is easy to navigate and user-friendly. In here, the base settings like rotation angle can be adjusted, the motor power, dampening, game effects, and all other settings are all completely adjustable. In the Devices tab, we can also do basic things like center the steering wheel and check the inputs. And over in the dashboard settings, the speedo brightness can be adjusted, and we also have options to set the speed in kilometers per hour or miles per hour, or we can have the gear indicator displayed. Speaking of the display, the speedo and gear display works well, although for the gears when changing into neutral it displays a 0 rather than an N, and reverse is displayed as a -1 rather than an R. Back in the software, the rev lights along with the button colours are adjusted via the presets, or individual colours are easily selected, allowing you to customise the colours on the steering wheel. One thing that is hopefully added in the next version of the software is the ability to also adjust the button and rev light brightness. In use, the steering wheel, motor and bracket all feel solid while mounted onto a rig. The driving experience with the direct drive feels responsive, and it's delivering plenty of feedback suited for racing or casual gaming. The magnetic shifters feel good when shifting with a nice tactile click, and the carbon fibre paddles are a good size. The display and rev lights on the steering wheel are clear, and it's great having the option to either display the speed or the gear. Now, the steering wheel that comes with the wheelbase is a good size at 300mm, and having the thumb encoders is a great addition. But I do find the thumb wheel space close to the edge of the steering wheel to be causing a pinch point. Now, keeping your thumb on the outer edges of the steering wheel does help, but it's still quite the possibility to get a thumb caught or injured in the event of an accident or loss of steering control. So it's something worth noting, especially when using higher powered direct drive wheelbases. The C12 is an all-in-one wheelbase and motor, and while there's no quick release for quickly changing the steering wheel, it's now using the common 70mm PCD bolt pattern, and this allows users to swap out the steering wheel. Removing the steering wheel is an easy process, and it's a matter of undoing and removing the 6 bolts, then the cover plate and the steering wheel lift off. It's good having the option to change the steering wheel, and most steering wheels with a 70mm PCD will bolt directly onto the button box. But I found not all steering wheels will fit. Some might need modification to fit and to allow enough clearance for the buttons, and other steering wheels without a centre hole will need washers or a spacer to raise it slightly so the steering wheel is above the centre protruding bolt. The paddles are a little further away with a larger 330mm steering wheel, but still reachable. And as the paddles are bolt-on, they can be upgraded or extended with a custom adapter if needed. The C12 has built upon the original C5 external rotor design, and the latest model has a new look, more power, a removable steering wheel, and a new magnetic shifter design. Overall, while the C12 is made with good quality materials and has plenty of power, it's a hard choice to justify the purchase with better options available on the market. Let me know what you think about the Cammus C12 direct drive in the comments below.